What's up, everybody? I'm Kramzer. I'm here with Joe. We are on side 3 of Lady Gaga week. It was a good week because we like Lady Gaga a good bit. Joe more than me, but I still like her a lot. However, and this is not a knock on my overall opinion of Lady Gaga, but chill out. You know what I'm about to say. I'm not blindsiding you here. Lady Gaga is an artist for me that I really need to take in small doses. Doing like an all day thing or an all week thing or back to back to back albums really kind of takes a toll on me. So I prefer Lady Gaga in small doses. There are some artists that I can listen to all week long, songs over and over and over again and never get sick of it. But there are those artists out there, and I'm sure you guys think so as well, that you love maybe an hour at a time or a day and then be like, all right, well, revisit that in 6 to 9 months or maybe in 10 years, but you still have a lot of affection for it. So we're going to discuss some artists or maybe just some styles in general of stuff that we need in small doses.
Well, I'm going to start off right off the bat with one that will get me stoned and pilloried on this channel.
High? You're going to get high from this comment?
No, but I probably should be before I read the comments. I'm going to throw my boy, your boy, not my boy, Bobby D, Bob Dylan on my list. There's something about, and most of my choices kind of have to do with this, just the voice. It's always kind of comes down to the vocals as far as things that I just can't take in large doses. And Bob Dylan is one of them. I just don't really love his voice. I'm sorry if that offends people. It shouldn't. I think we're all grown-ups here. But really, one album per week, month maybe, is the most I could take from Bob Dylan, which is why, of course, I did not do the discography with you guys. I think he's a great songwriter, but just something about vocals, and it continues. The death metal screaming thing. I can't it's tough to even get through a whole album. Even somebody like Mastodon, which isn't at that level, but still like real kind of coarse and grating a lot of times. Less so on their later albums, but just it's hard to listen to like in a row. Like I can't do like Mastodon in a row just over and over again. As much as I like them and their music style, the vocals really kind of a little bit of a turn off for me. Same with sort of harder gangster rap like R.I.P. DMX. Just that harsh kind of like barking vocal style is tough for me. And it's mostly dudes. There's not a lot of women that I can't take their voice. But that harshness. Another one that's not quite on like DMX or Mastodon's level, but maybe just because he sings slightly out of key. Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I really like the Chili Peppers. I like most of their albums, but especially early on like Blood, Sugar, Sex Magic, like that harder rapping, he doesn't quite, I think Anthony Kiedis gets better as he goes on with his vocals, but he just always sounds like not even a half step, like a quarter step flat. And it kind of just like grates on you a little bit, just a little bit. So that's one. And we did this listography recently, and y'all know I don't like them. Although I even found something that I do like in Goo, of course, Sonic Youth. Just the lack of melody and that like dissonance and weird tunings that it's tough. That was a tough week for me. Especially some of those like more experimental albums, once you get like Washing Machine and Dirty Leaves, and the first album, Sex is Confusion and Bad Moon Rising, just it's like clanging in my brain. It's hard for me to listen to something without like that melody that I can like attach myself to. So those are tough. They not all like that, but any of that like style of post rock. And obviously, going through all of my yearly lists, you may have discerned that. Not my favorite style, but I do find it interesting. I'm just not a big fan of listening to that a lot, and you know, small doses, just small doses.
Yeah, for me, main reason why I get a little exhausted with Lady Gaga, I think really just has to do with like the loud synth and the beat, where it's like, I don't really go to those clubs anymore at all. But doing those album after album after album, it's like you've been there from 7 p.m. until 10 a.m. the next night or the next morning, and it's just been going on, and you're just like, oh my god, and the drugs have worn off, and it's just like. So one of my favorite artists that kind of falls into that category, like if I'm going to do an all-day marathon, at the end it's going to start feeling like a hammer, and that's going to be 9 Inch Nails, with the heavy industrial, chopped up kind of percussion mechanism. I don't have a problem with like the dark sinisterness of it. I can listen to that all day. I can do movie marathons with that subject matter. It's really just the sound of it. And sometimes his compositions get a little repetitive. So it kind of gnaws at you a little bit. Another one, I'm gonna go, and this falls into your vocals category. Tom Waits. Can't do like a big Tom Waits marathon. So even though I like Tom Waits a lot and will do the discography, I feel like we're gonna need a couple weeks on that one, because just banging out all of those is, and it's very slow and mellow, and I don't want any album to feel like it's taking forever, but I feel like if you're gonna do it all day, by the time you get to the fourth album, it's just gonna be like, oof, like unless you're just sipping, scotch all night, it's gonna be a rough ride. Also, I'm going to go with an artist that all three of us here in the channel like probably the most in the world. It starts to seem like, compare like by the comments, everyone's shocked by our pleasure in Counting Crows. Admittingly, if you're gonna binge Counting Crows, it can get a little whiny after a while, and just kind of, yes, a little full of complaining, and that's their thing. Everything is a rainy day and all of that, so that can get a little bit rough. This one I feel like is kind of obvious because it can be such a downer at times. It's got to be Elliott Smith. As much as I love him, I don't want to know what state of mind I'll be in if I go through like just all of it all at once. It's just, his music is so heavy, especially when you put together what happened with him and his passing and all of that. It's a lot to digest and just can really get you down a little bit. I mean, I don't know if down is the right word, but his albums are beautiful. But, I think I'm at the point in my life where I need to control my emotional balance a little bit. And that one is just right in the Achilles heel too much. An honorable mention I'm going to throw out is blues music in general. I love the blues. I love it live. But if you're going to do like an all day 12-hour blues festival, no matter how good the ribs and beer are, you're going to start hearing kind of the same solos over and over and over again, because that's just what you have to solo in. But my main one, and this might be the one where I get stoned to death in the comments, I can't take a lot of Queen all at once. It's just so bombastic, and a lot of it is just like written like fireworks, explosion, and so grand, which I love. But I remember when we were doing a lot of the album of the year in the 70s, and every week I was listening to a Queen album, and I was kind of thinking like, man, if I really just, when we do Queen week, I'm gonna need something to just offset it, like an Elliott Smith or something, just to kind of balance it out. Which is weird because you know, I throw a lot of dinner parties and stuff here, and we were out back a couple weeks ago, and we put on Queen. And after like an hour, I was like, "All right, that's enough. Like, we gotta switch this up now. It's getting too much." I still like Queen a lot, not as much as you guys, but
And I do not have the same feeling on that one, that's for sure.
yeah.
But I do hear you on Tom Waits. That style. Kind of feel the same way about Nick Cave. And everyone's like, "When are you gonna do the Nick Cave discography?" I'm like, eventually we'll get to it, but it's that kind of same, like the deep, like really deep male vocals that kind of just, yeah, take their time getting there. Tough to listen to all at once. And I hear you with blues, like anything super repetitive, like even some of the, you know, great funk albums that I like, when you kind of have like that same groove, just repeating and repeating and repeating, kind of gets to be too much. I even have a problem with Prince's 1999 a little bit, just because it's like that dance beat that just each song is like 7.5 minutes long. And it's just like, okay, like I've heard this before. Can you just get to the end of the song? That, that one I know confuses people. That didn't make my top whatever in '82, but yeah, just very repetitive stuff kind of gets to me. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. I had Morrissey slash the Smiths on there as a possibility. But now I think about it, I really just think it's Morrissey in general, and just more just disdain of him as a human being coming to fruition, rather than like I used to listen to the Smiths a lot and don't really remember getting sick of it. I think right now when I'm making these lists, I'm just looking for every shot at Morrissey I can get in there. So just it's gonna be mentioning Morrissey negatively in every video you see for the rest of your listography experience out there.
That's fine. I love the Smiths, but Morrissey himself can get a little tiresome for sure.
Yeah, and like I like metal in small doses and some other things, but definitely like yeah, the more death metal, the more just and just double bass. It's like, all right, 45 minutes to an hour tops.
Yeah,
Can't do it. You know, there's been metal shows I've been to where someone's like, "What do you think of this band?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, pretty good." And I'm like, they're like, "Yeah, it's the third band tonight." I was like, "All right, what?" So I thought it was still the first band, and no idea. But all right, everybody, let us know if you agree with some of our picks. Probably not Dylan or Queen, but we gotta spice things up, make it controversial once in a while. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and let us know in the comments what some artists you really like, but kind of has to be small doses as well. Check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts to follow us, and our website, lithographymusic.com. And we will see you next time. Joe and Kramzer signing off. Thanks for enjoying Lady Gaga week. We will see you next time.